Welcome to Friday, baby. We made it. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. And our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. Of course, the physical delivery of hard assets. It's what we do every day, 25 years. You know, pretty soon here. Be 26 years as we continue watching all of this play out. The crazy times. It is raining as we speak here at the Hole in the Ceiling. It's raining pretty good too. So hey, we'll take it. The water is much needed. Kind of get weird. Not used to seeing rain in the middle of the morning anyway, especially in July. So good for us. I hope everyone's having a great day. We got a great show lined up for you. Got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Next Monday, I will be on Jacked Up. It'll be a little different version of things that I've done in the past in radio. So if you want to tune in to 1360 KHNC, the Jacked Up morning show, I'll be on at 8 o'clock Arizona time, so I think that's 9 o'clock Colorado time. I'll be joining Jason for that event. Then I will be on the Open Forum on Tuesday with Terry V and the Rev. They're going to dive into, I don't know what, a different side of me, I guess. They have questions they said they want to ask. So I'll be all over the place next week as we're trying to squeeze in the last little bit here. You know, is August still back to school? I guess it probably, it is. California, I know, I was there. Wish I hadn't been. But a lot of the record-breaking amounts of kids being homeschooled now in the state of California as the mask mandate issues running amok. I saw LA's now putting the mask back on. Janet Yellen was talking. I got to share her comments. She made a very, very interesting comment about lockdowns. And I was surprised that she would say what she did, but I will share that all with you. CBD, don't forget our CBD products. We got a brand new product, the bath salts. I'm telling you right now, especially if you're a bath person, maybe you're old like me. I say, I'm only 50, or almost 51, but you're older. Stuff hurts. Maybe you got, kids that are athletic, and they got the bumps and the bruises, and you soak them in the tub. These bath salts, it's incredible. It's 4,000 milligrams. So the most potent CBD product we have. It's a huge supply. I mean, it comes in this 1 pound bag. I have one. I use it. You know that. Especially if I use a product, I'll give you my straight up opinions of it. It's just fantastic. Like all the stuff my kind does. Just fantastic. If you buy the bath salts, 1360 KHNC, hit the shop button. If you put bath in the promo code, so the word bath in the promo code, we'll take $5 off. Take $5 off. Try it out. It's a great product. Of course, remember, it helps the radio station immensely. And believe me, as you guys know, I'm watching that bottom line at the radio station constantly. And I will say this, keep supporting our advertisers. We're trending in the right direction, that is for sure. But the CBD products, we got another one. It's already left the lab. I've already seen the results. It's at the processor right now. The rejuvenation cream will be coming online. And again, everything takes longer than it should. Hopefully in the next week or two, the rejuvenation cream will be the next product. But as you know, I'm a 3,000 milligram tincture a day guy. And believe me, it helps me. It will help you. Something like 80 to 90% of the people that take it say that it's helped them. So give it a shot. If nothing else, give it a shot because it's going to help the radio station. But I think when you do, you're really going to be surprised. Arthritis, a lot of people now saying, hey, I've had arthritis. This is the best thing that I've taken for it. Some of them have even said I've been able to stop taking my medication because of it. Really good for those of you that have trouble sleeping at night. Take it in at nighttime before bed. Does a lot of calms, anxiety, all kind. I know I'm missing a whole bunch of them, but check them out. 1360KHNC. Hit that shopping cart button. Get your CBD products. Like I said, we'll have another product coming by the end of the year. Listen, we're going to have 15, 20 products by the end of the year. So we'll get everybody covered out there. 800-951-0592. When we get back, what did Janet Yellen say? And, of course, I think Janet Yellen the most evil central banker ever. By far the most liberal. And now she's the head of the Treasury. So think about she was all the Alan Greenspan years, not the early Greenspan years, but the late Greenspan years. She was the head of the San Francisco Federal Reserve Bank. Then during Bernanke, she was the number 2. Right? So she was the vice chair under Ben Bernanke. Then she became the head of the Fed, and of course now she's at the Treasury. I mean, and you can just see this hockey stick of explosion of debt since she's really been risen into power all along the way. I'll tell you what she had to say about inflation and lockdown. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Friday, man. The rain's coming down. I love it. It just puts me in a good mood. It's the opposite here. The rain puts us in a good mood. Most places you get rain, everyone gets all depressed. Not here. Janet Yellen. Man. She did an interview on CNBC. And I'll give you the mainstream spin, because when they do these things, what they do is they'll put a clip up and they'll only play a couple minutes of it. It's the couple minutes they want you to hear, and then they'll write a little piece about it, 3-4 paragraphs, and again only highlight the things they want you to hear, and then they throw the rest of it out like it never happened. So in this interview, she really starts getting me worried about the power that she thinks she still has. And what I mean by that, she's the head of the Treasury Department, but yet she's talking about things that the Treasury shouldn't be talking about at all. But again, it just shows you how much power the bankers now have when it comes to Washington. And of course, we've known this a long time, but it's grown even bigger. At a time when we should be trying to shrink their power, because look at what they've done. So in this interview, she said that she worries about the problems inflation could pose for lower income families. Everybody else, right? She's not worried about anybody else, right? I'm worried about the lower income families, but you'll be surprised at why she's worried. What that they can pay for food, that they can pay the electric bill, that they can go out and get a used car. No. She's worried about lower income families looking to buy homes at a time when real estate values are surging. And of course, why are they surging? Oh, that's right. I forgot. You're buying 40. Well, you're not, but the Fed is buying $40 billion a month of mortgages. You got interest rates at ridiculous levels, right? And you can't figure out what's happening. Now you're worried about it. Just for the low-income people. Please. And you got to be pretty wealthy to buy a house anymore. Then she goes on. Now remember, she's been the leader, along with Jay Powell, about there was going to be no inflation last year when she was talking. And even when she became the head of the Treasury, right, with the Biden administration, oh, no, it's fine. And then, then she got onto the quote-unquote transitory bandwagon. She goes, we'll have several more months of rapid inflation. And I'm like, okay. Boy, that's not what you guys were saying earlier. I mean, we've already had this is month number 4 of rapid inflation growth? Now we're going to have several more. And several is a good word, right? Because, at least in my language, several is more than a couple, right? So we're not talking about 2 more months. We're talking about several months. What, are we talking 3 months, 4 months? How much? So I'm not saying that this is a 1-month phenomenon. Well, wow. I mean, considering that we've already had 3 or 4 months, I guess you're right. I guess it isn't just 1 month. But this is when it got interesting. But I think over the medium term, we'll see inflation decline back toward normal levels. But of course, we'll have to keep a careful eye on it. Well, listen, you're obviously not doing anything about it, so why keep an eye on it at all? Oh, yeah, we're keeping an eye on it. And what did we see? Well, rapid inflation. What are you doing about keeping an eye on it? What the hell is medium term? What does that mean? And, of course, everyone's got to go, oh, well, now Janet Yellen's saying, hey, it's going to not be till the end of the year. All it is, again, an excuse. And understand what inflation is. Not only is it a horrible tax on all of us, but understand what it is. It means your labor, the things we go out every single day. We wake up in the morning, we get up, right? We get ready, we put our clothes on, and we go to work. And that paycheck continues to buy less and less. I couldn't imagine. Could you imagine if you're making the same amount of money today that you did 10 years ago? And how much worse your situation would be? You know how many people, how a lot of my friends get by? They think they're doing well. They're not. They refied their house. I refied, got a lower rate, took some money out, so I'm pretending like I'm doing as good as I used to. They're not. But they're going to keep an eye on it. But boy, I really appreciate what she's doing there. And again, how is this her job? Well, now she keeps an eye on inflation. She's going to be the one. Again, see the power here? The consumer price index, we talked about it, up 5.4%. Throw out 1 month in 2008. Right? It's the highest reading since the 90s. Excluding food and energy, it's the highest reading since the 90s. So, and that's 4.5%, by the way, that number. So that 1 month, I remember crude oil spiked. I've told you the story a million times. Spiked. So energy prices, one time in 30 years, was higher than this number for a month. One time. You strip out that stuff, which we all know we can't live without. It's the highest level in 30 years. Why is it 30 years? Well, that's when they changed how they calculated inflation. So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? It's really on par with what was happening in the 70s. Prices that goods and service producers receive for their products, that's kind of important, up 7.3%. Now, this is a new one. That they've only been tracking this number since 2010. It's the highest ever. In other words, producers are charging 7.3% more for their stuff. So it kind of tells you inflation's got to be at least 7.3. Right? I'm just saying, right? But again, they got these really fancy formulas. And so anyhow, I don't think we're seeing the same kind of dangers that we saw in the run-up to the financial crisis, he said. It's a very different phenomenon. Okay. Is it? Sure, there's different circumstances, but isn't it really the same? You've created a bubble, right? What she did in '08. Now Jay Powell's helping do it now. Are the circumstances different? Yeah. Yeah, they're different. But what do we have? We have overvalued stocks. We have overvalued housing. And a bond bubble that continues to blow up. All of those were the same. Those were all the same. And so I find it interesting that she at least brought it up, which tells you what? At least that tells me, okay, she is at least worried that, hey, we're going to have a crash here soon. Because when they start talking about it, right, that's their, well, I said it, but don't worry, right? This is typical banker jargon. Oh, it's not like the last time, and it's contained, and it's not the same phenomena, right? Interesting. Because that's exactly what they were saying the last time. So anyhow, that was the mainstream. Of course, I flavored it up for you. But when we were looking at all the other things she had to say, that's when things got really interesting. They're working on this global tax deal. I haven't covered it very much. But this is a way, because governments can't help themselves. So they want the rest of the world to charge corporations more tax. Because remember, part of the reason why the deficit got bigger is we cut taxes on our corporations because everybody else was charging them less, and we know they were offshoring and doing this stuff, so then we just lowered them. So now they want to agree to this 15% rule, which, let's face it, there's no way this can hold. It's not going to work, but okay. And think about the ridiculousness of it, 15%. They asked her if Amazon is covered in this deal. And she goes that she's not certain that it is. And I thought that was kind of, because you got to think about Amazon, the poster child for not paying taxes. But very hopeful holdouts will join. So, and I just want to bring it up that, again, like everything else they do, loopholes. Wants to make sure inflation remains under control. Again, that's not her job. Says that they will see return to full employment in 2022. If that's true, which I hope it is, that doesn't work with their inflation argument. Right? Because as more people go back to work, right, that's inflationary. So it's interesting. They're talking out of both sides of their backsides. Now, again, I don't know how that's your job either, but nonetheless, there it is. Of course, we talked about several more months of rapid inflation, but inflation expectations still look well contained. They do. Really? We just had the highest inflation numbers in 30 years, and you're saying it looks well contained? Don't see the same dangers in housing as she did in the early 2000s. Worried about housing affordability, however. So there you go. So it isn't a bubble. It's not a bubble. It's absolutely a bubble. How do I know it's a bubble? Because they're still buying $40 billion worth of mortgages. They're still having rates at all-time record lows, and when that ends, the bubble pops. She sees a world where interest rates remain at a moderate level. Well, that has to be. Would you call this moderate? I would call these levels extremely low. Matter of fact, the Fed has been fighting to keep the Fed's funds rate above zero. She says that the drop in rates shows inflation remains under control. Right now, the 10-year note's at like 1.3. Very interesting, isn't it? And what I mean by interesting, is that true? That the fact that rates are staying low and going lower means inflation's under control? I don't think so. What it means is there's so much damn money out there, and there's nowhere to put it. And of course, we're seeing a lot of pension and hedge funds and pension funds and companies from outside the U.S. purchasing bonds at 1 because they have too much money. I actually think it's the exact opposite. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Talking about Janet Yellen's comments, now talking about the Treasury yields falling. Because that's actually not what's supposed to happen. Or is it? And of course she says, oh no, that just means inflation's under control. Really? Does it? Or is it really the opposite? If it was so under control, stop buying $80 billion a month. Tell Jay Powell, stop. Apparently, there's lots of people that want to buy them. Because that's what falling yields is. Falling yields is, hey, man, we got a lot of demand for this stuff. So we don't have to pay that much interest. Okay, stop buying. See what happens. I mean, we just had the hottest inflation number in 30 years. Think about how many times Janet Yellen, whether she was at the San Francisco Fed, the vice chair, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, has raised rates, voted to raise rates, with inflation way less than what it is now. You telling me we can't even raise them a quarter point? Just a quarter point. I mean, obviously we should be raising, right now the Fed's funds rate should probably be 5 or 6%. I mean, we're at 0. So if this really was true, why not raise rates? Again, just because they say it doesn't mean it's actually true. There's no truth to that statement at all. It's just convenient for them to say it, isn't it? But remember how all of these things happen. It's always gradual. And then suddenly, bam, it goes the other way. But then it got really interesting. She claims that she's been in contact with her Chinese counterparts, which is kind of interesting because the official stance is not to have regular U.S.-China economic dialogue at all right now. Matter of fact, China just refused to meet with the Deputy Secretary of State. But I think, again, there's more working together behind the scenes than we all can imagine. Of course, it's all about digital currency. That's what they're talking about. But here's where it got interesting, if that wasn't enough. Two very interesting other comments. And again, this didn't make the cut in the mainstream press. You won't read it anywhere. About COVID. I have to worry about COVID outbreaks in parts of the country, which is such a nonsense. That's what they're, no, it's just the places that aren't vaccinated. California leads the way, and they're one of the most vax states there is. But anyhow, she has to worry about that, she says. But this was the comment that got me. And COVID shutdowns could happen again in the United States. Now, they didn't elaborate anymore on that, but she was just matter of fact stating, oh, yeah, we could do it again. Then, the last one. I'm thinking about that. You think we'd do it again? Boy. That'd be tough. I don't know. I don't know if that would fly again. I really don't. And then this part. This one really, another one we should pay attention to. The Fed has done a good job. Declined to comment on Jay Powell, but she added that she would be talking to President Biden about Jay Powell. And I thought that was really interesting. What are they getting ready for? What is she going to be saying to President Biden? Are they setting Jay Powell up to be the fall guy? Because, when you think about it, Janet Yellen has pretty much said everything Jay Powell has said. But it was just, and more about context in that. It was a very interesting comment, and Janet Yellen's one of those people, unlike Jay Powell sometimes, goes off the rails, right? Janet Yellen does not. She doesn't say things willy-nilly. I just thought that was a very, very interesting comment that she was going to be talking to the president about Jay Powell. Now, she didn't give an indication, a good or a bad, but in my mind, he's going to be the setup guy. Be interesting to see the power that woman holds when the crash comes. Because I think it happens before Joe Biden's term is up. How about that? There you go. There's another number for you. Just in case you were wondering about her COVID comments, I thought it was kind of interesting because there was a new, the COVID tracker now. All 50 states showing increases in COVID cases, something like 26,000 cases a day now, up 60% or something like that. Kind of trying to beef up the rhetoric. We'll watch it. And one of the Gottlieb was on TV again. He was talking about, well, I think the number's underreported. That it's actually worse. And that vaccinated people are probably coming down with colds and not thinking they got COVID, but they do. It's a weird thing. What? So if you're saying that it's undercounted because people, they're not even that sick, so they don't even think it's anything, okay, I'll live with that. I don't know why that would be a bad thing. But anyhow, when we get back, I got a special, an item that I haven't run in a long time because you just don't have it. It's silver, so get ready for that. Jeff Gunloch, he's one of my favorites. He's probably my favorite. Well, maybe Stan Druckenbill. It's close. He's going to tell you exactly what I've been telling you about the dollar. We'll talk about that as well. And then California is going to give away more money to people. I'll tell you about that, too. This is the latest thing. Let me tell you right now, handing out money isn't the answer. You don't get prosperity from a printing press. People need opportunity. That's what we need. When you hand out money for nothing, it doesn't fix anything. Just look at food stamps. Look at the war on drugs. Throwing money at it never fixes anything. All it does is cheapen the money. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. So yesterday, I had just a great an item walk in the door. Unexpected. They're live here in Phoenix. Jason ran them yesterday afternoon on his show. I had 3 cases of rounds in their actual case. And of course, rounds come in, I know most people probably don't know, but they come in like a cardboard box. And there's, just like Silver Eagles, a case is 500. There's 25 rolls of 20. And all of you know, if you've been buying silver in the last year, very hard to get new. And most of the silver is, it's backdated, so it's toned. Right? They're not the, nice and crisp. Doesn't hurt the value. So don't worry about that. It doesn't affect the value. It just doesn't look as nice. I get it. It's not, aesthetically pleasing. These rounds are fresh. I've got 25 rolls of buffalo rounds. So the buffalo round, that's the male Indian. On the head side, the tail side has the buffalo on it. Great looking coin. A lot of you have seen these a bunch of times. And then I've got a case of what I'm going to call Morgan rounds. Now, yesterday, this is how little I know about things. I told the girls yesterday, because we had 2 cases of buffaloes, 1 case of Morgan rounds when Jason went on the air. I said, well, we'll sell the Morgans out. The buffaloes will probably take a little longer. And the exact opposite happened. People only bought the buffaloes yesterday. No one even bought a Morgan one. So let me tell you, this isn't a Morgan dollar, but this is a silver round where the head side is the design of the Morgan dollar. So the Lady Liberty with her hair and all that stuff. So it looks on the front like, and you can tell it's not an actual Morgan dollar. But it's the same design. It's really cool. I've seen these before. I've never seen more than a roll here or a roll there. So I've got a whole case of these Morgans. Really great looking. And like I said, all of them. All of these are fresh, not toned, nothing like that. And I know for a lot of people that's what they like. And what I like about these rounds, the tubes they're in, really tight. So not a lot of air getting there. That's kind of the problem with the U.S. You'd think we could make better tubes and caps. But these ones, they're specifically designed to have these rounds in them. So I've got a case of each. I got 25 rolls of each. 25 rolls of buffalo rounds, 25 rolls of Morgan rounds. It's all about price. $32. That's the cheapest price for silver anywhere. $32 an ounce. So that's like $640 a roll. $640 a roll. You can mix and match. Maybe get a roll of Morgans and a roll of buffalo rounds, or you can get all of each. But I've only got 25 rolls of each. That's all I have. They are live here in Phoenix. We are going to be shipping to Colorado. We'll be doing that on Monday. So they'll get to Colorado towards the end of next week. But Phoenix, if you want to come and pick them up, they are. I have them in my possession as we speak. 800-951-0592. I want to remind everybody we are going to start shipping FedEx. So those of you that we ship to will probably be asking for your email addresses. Not to, listen, we're not going to solicit, you know that. But what we did, we just updated our software. We're still waiting. FedEx has to send us a printer. We're waiting on that. But right now we've linked up with their software. And if you provide us with your email address, here's how it's going to work. When we create the shipping label, you'll get an email with all of your shipping label information. So that way, hey, if something's wrong, maybe you moved, you forgot to tell us, or this or that, you can call us and tell, hey, change that address. when the driver picks it up from us, you'll get another email. And we're going to ship everything today. So not next day, 2 days. So let's hypothetically say the driver picked up packages today. Saturday counts as a day. You'll have it on Monday because Sunday doesn't count. But if he picks it up on Monday, it's going to be at your place on Wednesday. Now, FedEx does not ship to P.O. boxes. So those of you that have P.O. boxes will ship post office for that. If you want us to ship FedEx, then you'll have to provide us a street address. So just to let everybody know, and I'll make these announcements several more times as we get closer. But we think by next week, as long as the printer shows up, then we'll be adding FedEx shipping. And the cool part is you get all the notifications, the tracking numbers, and all that stuff, and actually get multiple notifications. So just to point that out. So if you're not picking up, obviously you can still pick up in our Arizona office, you can still pick up in our Colorado office. But if you want us to ship, just be prepared. We'll probably ask you for that email address so we can send you tracking information. Patriot Radio News Hour. When we return, I'll just tell you what Jeff Gunloch is saying, and it's all common sense. But pretty much, I'll just give you the teaser. Yeah, the dollar, yeah, it's due. As if we didn't know. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592, final segment here. And don't forget, silver rounds today. I mean, so much less expensive than junk. Silver utility, silver way less expensive than Silver Eagles right now. And I just love it because they're crisp and new. We haven't seen a lot of crisp and new in the silver markets. Rolls of what I'm going to call Morgan rounds and then Buffalo rounds. They're $640 a roll, 800-951-0592. Jeff Gunloch, yesterday afternoon, right after Jay Powell finished testifying, ripped him. Says, I don't know what this guy's talking about, transitory. Everybody I talk to tells me the exact same thing. Everything costs more, and I can't get workers. And here's the problem. You can get workers. Got to pay them. You can get workers. Got to pay them. And it's going to be a whole lot more than $15 an hour. Then he talked about the dollar, and I want to, and I know it's, and I'll re-hit it Monday. He goes, I don't want to be overly dramatic, but I think the dollar is doomed. Ultimately, the size of our debts, and he was talking about, he brought up something that only I bring it up all the time. The size of our trade deficit, dude, it's approaching $1 trillion in a year. That's wealth leaving every year. And think about it. It's been $500 billion, $600 billion, $700 billion now for almost 20 years. Every year, year after year, that's just wealth leaving. Both the trade deficit, which has exploded, the budget deficit, which is completely off the charts. But now he's putting a number on it. He goes, I'm thinking it's the intermediate term. Now, what's that? I don't really think this year. Okay? But in the intermediate term, the dollar is going to fall substantially. And it's funny how he said, well, I'm not saying this year. So he thinks the dollar is going to rise a little bit. And he even put a number on that. He thinks the dollar may get to 94. It's at 92 and change, but 94. But he really hinted at 2022 is going to be the start. I don't want to be overly dramatic. The dollar is doomed. And again, I think he knows we're going to go to that digital currency. On Monday, we'll talk about the amount of businesses that have stopped taking cash. It's rising. I saw it everywhere in California, but it's all over the country now. Be early. This is early in the gold and silver markets. $26 an ounce silver is early. $1,820 gold is early. Buffalo rounds at $32 is value. Believe me. 800-951-0592. Silver rounds today. We don't have a ton left, but we got some available. Morgan rounds, $6.40 a roll. Buffalo rounds, $6.40 a roll. 800-951-0592. Don't forget, tune in Monday. I'll be on the hour before this show on Jacked Up. A little different side of Double J coming out next week. God bless everybody. Have a good week.